Today I'm going to quickly go over the steps to install this smoked third brake light in place of your factory brake light. The reason I'm doing this is I had the recall done on my brake light and it came back with a cracked light. I'm not sure how that actually happened, but we're going to replace it so it doesn't matter. First thing you're going to want to do is fold down your seats, give you room to work. The next step is going to be dropping the headliner. To do that, we need to remove these two clips, the two handles, and the top sections of the B-pillar trim. To remove the clothes hanger, simply grab a small screwdriver, snap the cover off, and then release these little metal clips and pull it off. Then remove clip carefully, reinstall it, and put the cover back on. These will easily slide into place when we reinstall. To remove these handles, take your flathead, put it in the little slot, and pry the plastic cover towards you on both sides. Can be a little tricky to get them to release. Don't put the screwdriver in too far. Then you have these clips again. Just get the screwdriver in and release them from both sides. Like so. Once the handle is off, insert the clips back in to the handle so you don't lose them. All right, now we're going to remove the B-pillar trim. First, you grab this weather stripping and just pull it towards you. Then you want to get this airbag thing popped out. To do that, you can just kind of reach over the top and push on it. That way you don't have to pry on it. Then you want to grab a 10mm socket wrench and remove this bolt. Now with the bolt out, you can pop the trim piece away. You want to pop the bottom one out a little bit as well. And there's a seam down here. You just kind of look behind it and separate the two pieces. And we'll just drop it down out of the way. Okay, with all of that removed, you can just kind of pull down on the headliner and it should give you enough access to get to the screws. Now I picked up this light from running for tacos because I know they sell good quality things. It was around $80. They have identical lights, probably the exact same thing because they have the same part numbers, on Amazon for around $50. I'll put a link below to either one. All right, you may or may not have this little trim ring around your light. If you do, just use some sort of plastic pry tool to pry all the way around the edges of the trim ring until it pops off. See, it has some double-sided tape all the way around it. Now, if you look closely, the fix that they did at Toyota was putting a bead of silicone around the edge. We'll do that too with the new one. The back of the new one is just foam, so it should seal pretty well. but water leakage into your truck is never good. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and remove the 10mm nuts holding the light in place. You wanna get your socket wrench ready. You can pull down on your headliner, just don't pull too hard, you don't wanna crease it. And then you can reach up inside and get to the nuts. One of the studs actually fell off the back of the light. So I guess when Toyota put it back on, they broke it. That's interesting. So it's also glued on. So the next thing you're gonna do is use your pry tool again and pry around the edges to try to release the light from the back of the truck. Just like this. So here you can see when I tried to unscrew it, it was over torqued and the bolt broke off. Looks like this one is broken as well. So yay Toyota. All right, once you have it off, then you release it with a pick or a small screwdriver. Just like so. The next step is going to be cleaning up all of this silicone residue. Now don't worry too much when you're unscrewing, because the nut will just fall right down in this channel here. All right, in case you were wondering, the nuts are M5 by 0.8 on both the new light and the old light. So I'm just going to use this little tap to make sure the threads are clean since the old studs broke. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and clean the silicone off. Now that you have most of the residue off, grab your favorite Goo Gone or Goof Off and clean off the rest. You're going to want to protect your plastic trim because this stuff could discolor the trim. So be careful where you put it. All right, the next thing we're going to do is just plug it in and test it out and make sure that we have the setting we want. This little switch switches back and forth between regular brake light, which I believe is the line, or blinking brake light, which is the circle. So we'll just set that in place and go test it out. All right, now we've verified that it works. You have to decide whether the foam is going to be a good enough seal for you. I think we'll install it with the foam and then we'll go back at the end and add a bead around just to make sure it's good and sealed before we put the trim ring on. I'm going to plug it in and slide it into place. All right, one trick you can do here is take a small piece of tape and put it around the head of your nut, like so. And then when you put the nut in this socket, it won't fall out. Because if it falls out while you're putting it on, you're gonna have to take the light off again to get to it. Okay, now that I have both of them started, I'm going to do one more test before I button things up, just to make sure everything is functioning correctly. Now make sure not to over torque these bolts or they might break like my last one was. They just need to be kind of hand tight and then a little more to equal resistance. You'll see the little foam backing is completely compressed, and you just have the plastic sitting up against the paint. Next thing we'll do is add a little bead of silicone around the edge, and then we'll put the trim ring back on. Now if you want to, you can just leave it like this if you don't have a trim ring. But the service recall says you should put some silicone around the edges and then install this trim ring. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but now there is a very small bead of silicone going all the way around. Now we're gonna clean up the trim ring, put some new tape on it, and then we'll reapply that. Peel off the current tape. Okay, with the tape removed, I'm gonna grab my roll of 3M double-sided. I'm just gonna add 4 pieces, 2 on the top and 1 on each side. There's no need to really seal around these edges because the water gets through the gap anyway. All right, the easiest thing to do is to apply the tape on the back, press it down really good, then take a razor blade and just cut off the excess. When you're done, you should have something that looks like this. And we'll just peel off the red backing and firmly press it into place. And here's the final look with the trim ring in place. Here's a look at the light all lit up, brake light's on, and the cargo light is on. And here are all the tools you need to do the installation. You just need a 10mm socket, extension's helpful, socket wrench, small flathead screwdriver. That's all for taking apart the headliner and taking the light out. Then you need some kind of goo-gone or goof-off to get all the residue off. You need some sort of soapy water, or I have an alcohol water solution to clean off after you get the residue off. A little tube of silicone to seal around the light, some double-sided tape, and some painter's tape to put it all back together. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped your install go smoothly. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.